everyone to Nerd TV for another full throttle sim racing Mach-1 Performance Cup Series race. This time coming at you live from the simulated Watkins Glen International Speedway here, where these guys are on race 12 of 13 for the 2023 B season. And Richie Coy needs to start 2 more races, and he will win this 2023 B championship to help his chances into the final 10 races coming up here shortly. Weather on track 113, temperature on the surface, a really hot track, and I've already seen drivers saying they just cannot stick to the track because it's just so dang hot out there. With the air temp at 88 degrees, probably the hottest day in New York possibly for a cup race. 42% humidity, cloudy, which that's been pretty scattered, which conveniently enough, you see that on the top half of your screen now as the screen or the camera pans. And then 14-mile-an-hour winds. So that's some of these long part or fast parts of the straightaways might play a factor. I don't know. We'll have to find out. My name is Jeremy Stanley, and to my right-hand side, Mr. Jason Rockefeller. How are you doing for this fine Monday?
I'm doing good, man. This is one of those racetracks that I am yet to go to. I live up here in Jersey. I'm about, I want to say maybe a 4-hour drive from Watkins Glen. I don't know. One of these days I'll get here. But hey, man, this is one of my favorite road courses to run. Not only because, just as fans of the sport with NASCAR and everything like that. What's up, Walt? We grew up with this racetrack. This track's been around for decades and decades and whatnot, obviously with NASCAR and whatnot, from the video games to iRacing and whatnot. But just this track, Jeremy, it's so special because it's like Formula One used to race here. Indy cars go on here. There's sports cars. The 12 hours at the Glen, or the 6 hours at the Glen, my bad. There's so much history here at Watkins Glen. And those S's, those windy S's, man, one of the trademarks of this place, especially the bus stop or the inner loop, as what most people would call it in its proper way. This track is very special, and it's very technical for sure. No doubt about it. I'm looking forward to tonight's race for sure.
Yeah, this race usually is the most racy ones out of all the road courses that we seem to go to each year, year in, year out. It has like that in between. It's got the road course factor for sure, but just the long straightaways, right? It seems to provide some passing zones. You can kind of drive a little more aggressive at this track. It brings a lot of excitement. I know I watch it on TV all the time when it's on, and it's just a fun race overall. And it's a tough place to drive too, especially in the Xfinity cars. Those things are just so loose around this track. The next gen, it seems to be a little bit better, a little bit easier, but still a handful there behind the steering wheel. Dustin, I know this is your favorite road course on the schedule.
Yeah, it's if anybody knows me, they know that I'm not a super big fan of the road courses when it comes to stock car racing, but this one here is probably by far my favorite. I do enjoy running this track here. Like you said, the next gen cars at this track actually handle it pretty well, which is to be expected. I mean, these cars were designed from the ground up not to just be solid on the oval. That's up for debate by some drivers, but also be able to run and handle a road course as well. So it's no surprise that the next gen cars actually handle it better than what your Xfinity car would see. But drivers still having issues with looseness going in. I mean, a lot of these heavy speed corners, heavy braking corners going in, these cars you see them breaking loose. I mean, you heavy braking corner into turn 1. Right before your inner loop, that's a heavy braking corner down that long straight there. These are going to be some trouble points for these drivers tonight.
It really will be on that blistering temperature, 113 on the track. That's even with clouds in the area too. So this track could just scorching when the sun comes out. It might even get hotter than that. But yeah, I've seen a lot of guys just not handling well. I don't know if they're just trying to push everything they can out of this practice session, but there's a lot of tricky corners here. Turn 1, obviously the braking, that's huge. Look out for, there's not so much of, the wheel hop in these next gen cars, but it's still very easy to lock up these pedals and to, drive it too deep in the corner. So watch out for that. And then the S is getting up to speed through third gear and fourth gear. It's just a handful.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, when you look at this, what did we see a lot here this past weekend at Watkins Glen, like we've seen now the last 2 weeks here? As you see the 25 machine right there, Stephen Hollingsworth hard into the wall. That's the thing, man. Once you get up to the top of those S's right there, right where it starts to straighten out, and then you're kind of at a curve with a little bit of banking, just a tiny, tiny bit because of the hill. It's difficult there, and you both brought up a really good point. Look at even Robert Malikian spinning out right there. It's just there is so much little grip with these cars. And I know that obviously because of the next gen car and whatnot, there's a lot of rear downforce on these things. I want to say they are a lot easier to drive on the road courses, but because you're going as fast with little tire wear, there is little room for error here with these next gen cars. And obviously, you're going to be locking up the brakes a lot tonight. You're going to see a lot of guys doing that here with these next gens due to the larger brakes and whatnot. You can apply so much more braking than you were used to back with the Gen 6 car or the Xfinity car or even the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series chassis. This road course is going to be very technical tonight for these guys. They're going to be going really fast with little tire fall off, so you got to make sure you keep all 4 tires on that asphalt.
100% there, and 2 of those guys showed you right before qualifying started that it's getting tricky through the S's, but qualifying is on. That means it's our time to get our faces off your guys' screens. We're going to focus in on the number 87, Michael Blackner of the Sheets Ford Mustang here. He was fastest in practice at 11.3, and he's getting warmed up for here. 2 laps, 10 minutes to do so in this qualifying session.
Hey, man, I think that Sheets machine needs to have Wawa put on the front of it because Wawa is 10 times better than Sheets, but that's just me coming from the Northeast. But, hey, we know how fast Michael Blackner is here on the road courses, something that he specifically told us that he likes more. All of his teammates have, from Solari to Coy to Hanna, all those guys. These Fury Motorsports drivers are going to be very, very strong here tonight. And I know that Michael and Tony both set up these cars for Fury Motorsports when it comes to the road courses. We've seen Tony Solari be very good. We've seen him consistently over and over again do very well. But, Michael Blackner is just miles ahead sometimes, in his own league. So maybe tonight will be the night where he'll be able to break through and get that first win here of Season B.
I know I rode with FTSR for the 24 Hours of Spa in the GT Series, and the guys in that race were, Tony Solari, Lane Allen, Richie Coy, Brandon Elder, Colby Mice, and everything that's in common with those names on the boards, they're all inside the top 10. So definitely playing to the factor of if you got it on the roadside, you got it here for sure. As we're seeing the 87 still trying to tackle his first lap around here. While he's completing that lap, I want to quickly shout out to the chats here. Our very loyal Doyle Lawrence here saying, "Hello, Nerds crew," to Jeremy, Jason, and Dustin. He's saying this is not Jeff Chandler style of racetrack, so don't expect him to be, blistering fast. And he's throwing a prediction out there, guys. Turn 1 is going to be ugly on the start, so we'll have to see how that turns out.
Sure, obviously hard braking zone all the way down into the corner. Right-hander, you don't want to get back to the throttle too soon because you will wheel spin. Those rear tires spin right out or even going right over the curbs. Then you want to make sure you're tight right there on the S's. Don't get really right on the curb. Easy on the throttle, back all the way, swing out to that guardrail that feels like it's coming right at you once you get to it. And then all the way down this back straightaway here into the corner, through the bus stop, what we call it, all the way down to second, over these curbs. You're going to see a lot of guys hopping over those curbs. Look at this. Even the guy who is fast on the board right now, Michael Blackner, is making a mistake. So it just goes to show you, Jeremy, that anybody has the opportunity. Even Michael Blackner, Tony Solari, Brandon Elder, all the guys who are primarily road racing drivers, they could have issues here tonight as well.
And you saw him, he cut, you said the bus stop, that's us NASCAR guys talking about this track, and to everybody on the road circuit stuff, that's the inner loop. So I call it the bus stop every single time, but now we're on board the roof camera, the number 19, Richie Coy, as he's going to start his first lap here once he gets to the green flag, I presume anyways. Pretty clean, conservative bus stop there. This corner right here, I feel like is one of the trickiest ones. He's doing the diamond effect. He slides up about a half a lane to a full lane, dives it back down to try to straighten up the corner. I'm the one who always hugs the curbing all the way and goes wide on corner exit there, past the curbing. So there's quite different ways to make that corner happen for you.
Obviously, too, everybody's road racing etiquette is really different, whether you want to give room to somebody, whether you want to attack a different corner differently. Maybe you like dropping a gear sooner than somebody. Maybe you like to upshift earlier than somebody. Obviously, the road racing side of things, especially with stock car racing nowadays, there's so many different ways to do it, and that's why you see so many different drivers up at the front of these fields. But the guys who have learned what they've learned and been very successful with it, like you saw William Byron capture the win in yesterday's Go Bowling at the Glen, picking up his 5th win of the Cup Series season. He's a driver who's been very good on road courses. You've seen Todd Gilliland continue to prove with that front row motorsports equipment, along with Michael McDowell, just from the way that they learned, somehow, some way it's working. The guys, they just got to keep on working. For ones who aren't very good at these road course races, maybe like Brian Dublé, Robert Bilicki, and maybe they can learn a thing or two here, because obviously even with those few road courses that you go to, it all makes you a better driver every single lap you learn.
100% there. As we saw, the 14 hit a 12.5 on his second lap there on board with Brody Hanna, 12.9. That's going to put him right outside the top 10 there with that lap. I see Steve Loomis on the chats on Facebook saying good luck Blackwater from Littenfield, Grass Valley, California. You see Brody taking a park there, so that's going to be the end of his qualifying session. We're just over halfway. 14 drivers have posted lap times here. And to Doyle's surprise, Mr. Chandler posts the lap time, but he's not too terribly off the pace there, 12.5 to the pole sitter, 11.9. So one person, Richie Coy, and in the 11-second bracket.
Yeah, kind of really wondering about Richie Coy's lap time there, because when we were on board with him when he was going through the inner loop, Jeremy, I thought that he really kind of was taking the inner loop there, or the bus stop we call it, kind of like as if it were like a very underwhelming corner, or maybe overwhelming, I believe it is the right term I'm using, where he just got in there super easy. You didn't see him jump over the curbs like most guys are, get loose. He was smooth, he was consistent, yet he looked fairly slow going through the inner loop. But sure enough, just because of the calm, cool consistency he had inside of his cockpit, he was able to post the lap time that he did. And Ryan Chapman now jumps into the top 5. He posts the 1 minute 12 seconds, .306. So that jumps him up there. And here's a driver, too, who I was really impressed with, because I remember last week when I hopped into the cockpit for Indianapolis, we were all sitting here during pre-race thinking, who in the heck is Jose Acosta? And boy, he drove from 17th to 7th for that race last week at Indianapolis. This guy only one start, making his 2nd career Mach-1 Performance Cup Series start tonight. Maybe Jose Acosta has something for these Fury Motorsport guys up at the front.
Yeah, holding P6 right now, only 4/10 off the qualifying fastest time of Richie Coy there. So in this practice time, he almost identically lapped it, or tied it rather. So it's a 12.3 in practice, 12.3 in qualifying. So consistency on the boards, that might be key here to having a good solid lap here, as we're kind of using the blip camera here to overhead the track, trying to see if any more guys are going to take lap times. Currently 14 still on the boards, 22 or 24 entries it looks like, potentially starting this Watkins Glen 200K. And I think I mentioned right there during the pre-race that Richie Coy has this thing locked up. He just needs to start 2 races, and the championship's his. And then, second place in the points, so 2nd and 3rd. That's kind of where we need to keep the eye out on it. Jeff Chandler, 77 back, and then Robert Malikian in the 22, 96 back. So 19 points separate those 2 guys for 2 weeks. That might be your close one to keep your eye out on.
For sure. And Robert, obviously, we've been thinking about it every week. We finally got the chance to talk to him here recently on one of our broadcasts. Was able to come home on the podium in P3. He said that was the goal for forever. He told, his other half that he's like, I finally got the chance to, talk to the guys up in the booth. And now he has a goal set to where he wants to go out here and win, Jeremy. And obviously starting 13th tonight, it's, a not very consistent lap there out of that 22 machine. Not something we're used to seeing out of him. But remember, Robert Malikian, he's not a guy who tends to, qualify very well up at the front. But as of recent, Jeremy, he's been doing very well with finishes, just consistently over and over again, top 10s, top 5s. Could have won a couple races here recently. So maybe, just maybe, Robert Malikian could possibly get something happening here tonight and pick up the ball and take home a win tonight, or maybe he could do it next week.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool to see, to kind of put the pressure on that 31 who Doyle has already sold out and said he's not really good here. So if Robert Malikian can do something, pull some type of magic trick out, and capitalize on it, that'd be awesome to see. And speaking of Doyle, he's going to be at the Coke Sierra 400 apparently, and I would be there. I've been there so many times. I would love to go again. I'm only 45 minutes south of the track, so I'm going to enjoy it this weekend though from my home in my seat here at the computer. But you and Dustin said he would love to go as well. Maybe one day, just one day, when the kids are grown up and out of the house. Producer Dustin can get out there, and that is the end of the qualifying session. No, and yeah, he's in my ear again saying life goals. So one day, and that means he has to pay a visit to me over here too. So that's a 2-for-1 right there. The starting order is officially up there. Richie Coy is going to be starting in P1 there. You see him lining up. So one full pace lap around this 2.5-mile road course. Brandon Elder going to be starting in second place. Michael Blackner is going to be starting in third. Colby Mice in fourth. Ryan Chapman in fifth. Jose Acosta at sixth. Lane Allen seventh. Jeff Chandler eighth. Tony Solari in ninth. And tonight's 10th place starting car, the number 4 of Chad Lang.
Rounding out the rest of the field, you got Brody Hanna there starting in 11th, one of those Fast Fury Motorsports drivers tonight. Brian Dublé starts 12th in the 37 machine. 13th is who we were just talking about, Robert Malikian in the 22 Ford Mustang. 14th goes to Ryan Hedrick. 15th, Stephen Hollingsworth. 16th, James Wallace. 17th, TJ Bartel, who's coming off of a top 3 run from Indianapolis. Chris Beck sitting 18th. Wayne Grossi, 19th. Josh Johnson sitting there in the 20th position. 21st is Colton Gum. 22nd is James Torrey. And 23rd is Kyle Milliken. And rounding out the field tonight, that number 2 Ford Mustang, Alan Duranco.
We'll see if Alan can do something here. I know his practice time wasn't good, but maybe he's got something for us in this race. And Dustin providing the best camera angle on the track, and that is walking down the grid here. Now, it's current F1 style. Used to be the NASCAR style, but I love this camera angle. I don't know about you, Jason, but they should utilize this every single week. So I appreciate you, Dustin, for taking us a little throwback tour on the front stretch.
Me of Jeremy, it reminds me of, remember when you'd be racing in NASCAR Thunder 2003 and all the Thunder games, and then the command would be given, and then you'd see the official behind the pace car wave him, telling him let's roll off pit road. That's what it kind of feels like right there as the pace car takes off past the start finish line. These 24 drivers are ready to rumble. They're ready to bring some thunder, kind of like NASCAR Thunder per se, but I want to take an instance just to think to ourselves too. This could be a possibility of being a fuel mileage race. We've seen time and time again where Watkins Glen, if we get them long green flag runs and whatnot, this could be a fuel mileage race. Obviously, don't believe there are going to be any full course cautions, except for the exception of the lap 15 stage break. So maybe we could see a little bit of strategy out of some of these guys here tonight, possibly like Chris Beck, Colton Gum, Wayne Grossi, Ryan Hedrick, just to name a few, who are starting towards the back half of the field.
As long as Chase Elliott is not starting in this field, I think we're going to go green flag the entire way. Stage breaks, I do not believe they throw the cautions. I think they do it just like they do in the real life and then in the NASCAR series. There will be a stage awarded, but there's not going to be a caution involved. So we're going to go green flag all 51 laps here this evening. And yeah, that's a change up like NASCAR did, and they follow NASCAR basically to the T, other than some personal rule changes they like to make in their playbook. So it keeps it very formal. You know what to expect if you watch the race on Sunday. You tune in on Monday and you get the same product, but on the virtual side with some of the best guys in sim racing. And yeah, so no cautions. I don't think there's going to be any full course cautions, period. And admins don't throw any cautions. So this should go green flag all the way unless Chase Elliott, like I said, runs out of gas in the inner loop.
Yeah, that's a possibility. And obviously, had it not been for that, there wouldn't have been any yellow flag instances yesterday. That would have been the first caution-free Cup Series race, I believe, since 2006. Or I believe I thought it was Daytona, or not Daytona, Talladega with Dale Earnhardt Jr. back in the early 2000s when he led almost every single lap. But hey, no cautions means the opportunity for more racing. And we're going to have to see here Richie Coy, Brandon Elder, ready to bring him down here this time.
Yeah, I think we're talking about 2002 as well, but we need to fact check that first. Green flag is out. This Watkins Glen 200K is underway. The 19 of Richie Coy gets a dominated start over the 51 of that penciled in, or I guess pinned in, Sharpie number 51 there, Brandon Elder, who looks like he's going to take second place there, gets a good drive off the corner exit, utilizing all the curbing there. You don't get the X for driving off the track unless you take all four wheels to the left side of that curbing. He goes good. Top three single file and some double wide here through the pack.
Yeah, and as everybody kind of starts to space out a little bit, once they get past the S's up this back straightaway, you're looking at that 27 machine. That's Ryan Chapman. Now back to Lane Allen, Tony Solari. They head through the inner loop. There's Chad Lang hopping over the curbs a little bit. Some drivers going a little bit wider than they probably want to. Josh Johnson through the grass. But everybody currently, Jeremy, just trying to survive and get through lap number 1 clean as they head through the carousel.
Yeah, it's one of the tricky parts there on cold tires because it's very slippery surface through that carousel. Now going through the second to final corner, I do believe this is 8 and 9. Brandon Elder in the 51 goes really wide behind Michael Blackner, and it's going to really choke up his corner for the final one. Colby Mice in the 9 clears the 51. Now Ryan Chapman in the 27 to the outside.
Brandon Elder's going to have a good opportunity to be able to clear Ryan Chapman going out into turn 1, but he doesn't want to lock up the brakes. You see a little bit of lockup from in front of him. That was Michael Blackner just ahead of Colby Mice as they work their way up to turn 2, up back through the S's. A little bit of side-by-side action here. Lane Allen coming off of a second-place run just last week at Indianapolis. So very strong run for him, looking to be strong again on the road courses here today. And then the road course king, I guess you want to say we could call him, that is Tony Solari. And whoa, Stephen Hollingsworth out of line right behind Jeff Chandler. Looked like he was going to get squirrely, possibly go around, but he stays straight. Everybody single file back to the carousel.
Hollingsworth probably has a lot of rear brake in that car. As soon as he touched that pedal, that car was tracking left, right, all down the straightaway till the bus stop there. Gets it straightened out, though. And now right behind him, the number 4 of Chad Lang is looking to attack here on the inside of turn 7. Chad Lang in the 4 clears the number 25 there, Hollingsworth, entering turn 8.
While everybody continues to swap positions, Hollingsworth continuing to try to pick up more and more spots, getting past Brian Dublé, now running after Chad Lang to pick up 4 spots here. And then a 4th spot could be the number 4 here in just a handful of seconds, maybe laps. We'll have to see. Back up through the S's. Hollingsworth right on the bumper almost on Chad Lang as they head up through turns 3 and 4.
These guys putting on a pretty good pressure. Also, the number 9 and the number 27, that's Colby Mice and Ryan Chapman. Really close nose to tail through the S's here, back through the bus stop here. Lap number 3, Ryan Chapman does not give the number 9 much room. Going through the carousel here, turn 6. They both slide up just a little bit, straighten out their corner. I think Ryan's got the faster car. He's just playing the patient game right now.
Yeah, definitely playing the patient game for sure, Jeremy. Obviously, you know, Ryan Chapman wants to start braking maybe a little bit earlier, downshifting a little bit later, and then upshifting later, or not later on, but earlier on. There he goes for the pass on Colby Mice down to the inside of the racetrack out of turn 11. They'll drag race this time down the front straightaway, give it to Ryan Chapman at the line. He'll take the 3rd place podium spot, but everybody going to be attacking these corners very, very differently here tonight, Jeremy, every single lap.
Yeah, 100% there, and I do believe Michael Blackner in 2nd place is kind of creeping in on your race leader, 19 of Richie Coy. You see him just getting a little bit closer, going through the S's right now into the bus stop here down the end of this straightaway, and he's about a 10th or so faster than Richie Coy in this past lap or so.
Yeah, closing in consistently, gains about 2/10 heading up the back straightaway. Now loses about a 1/10 and a half, almost 2 out of the inner loop back to the carousel. You see Richie Coy going for that diamond arc like he's been doing here all night from practice to qualifying. Now the race doesn't get the exit that he wants. Now his teammate Michael Blackner in the 87 Sheets machine has closed the gap into almost 4/10 of a second right now as they head through 10 back to 11.
Number 9, Colby Mice issues through the bus stop, entered in too wide, shot way past the center of the bus stop, and now he let the entire field by before merging back onto the track. This is going to cost him over 10 positions. Huge mistake there as we're going to go to the Nerd TV replay to take a look to see what happened here. Gets to the bus stop, over ramps the curbing, shoots way wide, heavy braking. Oh, and he actually hits the wall really hard there, and he sat there and waited for the field. So heavy damage to the right front of the number 9.
Yeah, if I were Colby Mice, man, just coming in pit, absolutely no doubt about it. And yes, he is on pit road now, got that thing there. Wouldn't be surprised if he knocked the toe out of it, damaged the right front very heavily. Just a mistake, unfortunately, heading out. And we've seen that time and time again, with obviously dropping back down on the racetrack, if that's what you really want to call it. You head up those curbs or those rumble strips. The car kind of catches air a little bit and then briefly gets sat back down the ground. Kind of upsets the suspension and the chassis. And unfortunately, that's why you see so many drivers get loose here. But we got 2 passes going on. You see Ryan Chapman he's under fire from Jose Acosta. But back up at the front, too, Michael Blackner has caught Richie Coy as Acosta continues to try to work on Ryan Chapman.
Let's see how Michael Blackner can do this. And also looking at the Acosta here. Remember, he's new to the league. I think it's only his second start here in the Full Throttle Mach-1 Performance Cup Series. He almost makes contact with the 27 of Chapman. They're still side by side. But I think, on corner exit here, the number 24 of Costa is going to take over third.
Great pass right there by Acosta heading out of turn number 1. Kind of forced the 27 to go just a tad bit wide. Gave him a lane, but he didn't give him too much room. So good job by Jose Acosta. Back up at the front, you see Michael Blackner super loose. And here's an issue with James Torrey, I believe it was, out of the carousel.
Oh, no.
Right there, right front, killed. And then, there he goes. Nose is in the wall. He'll take the ultimate tow back to the pit road right there.
And that was weird, too. Like, I thought his car was going to be straight. It just wasn't a forever slide, and he could not regain control of that number 6 there. Unfortunate there for James Torrey. And you're looking at number 87 of Michael Blackner. He actually had a mistake of his own a half a lap ago. Lost a little bit of ground to that number 19, Richie Coy. So he's going to have to get that back up and get back underneath the attack past Richie Coy.
Michael's been consistently closing in on Richie Coy. If he can just be, I think, a little bit more smoother than Coy probably through the bus stop, I think no doubt about it that Blackner's going to get to the back bumper of Coy, because we've seen time and time again here over these last 7 laps. Blackner is very strong heading into the bus stop, but then right when they get out of it, it's like Richie Coy just kind of puts on the afterburners and gains about a 2 to 3/10 advantage over what Michael Blackner shrunk. So we'll have to see, even this time going through the bus stop, Michael Blackner able to close in a little bit, but out of the bus stop, that time he got out a little bit better than Richie Coy. So maybe Michael Blackner learning from his mistakes here just 7 laps in.
And stage break is on lap 15. When I say break, I mean it's just the end of the stage and it restarts the second stage, like I said already before. No cautions to separate the stage, but these guys are racing to the end of lap 15 to maximize their points. 87, Blackner is all over the back bumper of Richie Coy off turn number 8. He's going to dip his Mustang to the inside of the 19. He's going to get at least the fender there. Overdrives turn 1. Let's see if he can make it stick. And he does, actually. Michael Blackner, excellent drive through turn number 1. New race leader for the first time.
Right there, Jeremy, just because of how hot he was going down to turn number 1, that sure enough, he was going to send that 87 Ford Mustang wide, and Richie Coy was going to be able to do the crossover. Turns out that wasn't the case. Now as they swap roles, Coy kind of just trying to offend Michael Blackner while Blackner tries to defend here as they head through the bus stop. You see Coy a little bit loose there off one of the curbs. Michael Blackner able to get about a 10th advantage there heading out of the bus stop. 6/10 now separates Coy to Blackner.
Quick shout out to our series sponsor, Mach-1 Performance Race Car Fabrication Shop that was started by the late Johnny Coy Jr. The shop has produced champions and winners of all sorts of racing divisions, from road circuits like the STCA to NASA to dirt and pavement oval racing. Visit them at Facebook at facebook.com/Mach-1 Performance. And if you have a local race car and Mach-1 Performance is in your area, give them a check out. Either just on Facebook, give them a call, or stop by in and see what they can't do for your car to get it back into winning form for sure. As we're out riding on board through the field here, 10th place. This is Chad Lang in the number 4, right behind the number 23 of Brody Hanna. Looking to pass 9th place, and here comes the number 25 of Hollingsworth. He's really close as well, trying to get inside the top 10.
Chad Lang would like to have another good run, obviously. He was one of probably, if not the most dominant car just by statistics last week at Indianapolis. Led 25 laps last week, but fell back outside the top 15 there late in the going. So Chad Lang looking to try to rebound, get a little bit better finish than what he had last week. But for Chad Lang, that's actually coming to fruition right now. He's currently inside the top 10, might be gaining, might be losing. We'll have to see. Still residing in the same spot from where he started. So we'll see how Chad Lang ends up here on the other end of the deal come lap 51.
One person I've been surprised with lap time wise is that number 24 there of Jose Acosta. Every single lap other than lap 1 and 2 where the tires were getting warmed up, this man has been consistent. And the 1.12s here at a 1:12.9 as he crossed the line that time. Very consistent drive here. We've not seen him. Like I said, it's only our second race. And to see how well he's doing behind the wheel, that 24 here at full throttle, I think he's doing a heck of a job right now, 10 laps into this event.
And you know something here, Jeremy, like he's not that far off of some of these guys right now. I know that every lap is different, but with consistency, Jose Acosta is actually doing very well. If he can just keep being consistent, keep the tires on it, don't overdrive, that number 24 machine very well could end up to Richie Coy's back bumper. And Blackner is pulled away a little bit from Richie Coy, almost about a second right now. Acosta back by 5 seconds for make it to Richie Coy, but to your leader, it's 5. So maybe Jose Acosta has something here for these leaders late in the going.
As these guys are momentarily kind of spaced out here, we're going to take it to our first picture-in-picture commercial break. Be back with you guys here shortly. And back to full screen action here is still riding on board with these guys, just kind of cycling through here. Not much has changed since we left you for that commercial break a few laps ago. Quick mention once again, at the end of lap 15 is stage in, but no caution right now. So the 87 Michael Blackner sitting really good, 1 second ahead of the 19 of Richie Coy. Looking to capitalize and get all the stage points for himself this race, or at least this stage rather. So 87 looking pretty good so far early on in this event.
For sure, and Richie Coy's actually been a little bit more consistent here last couple laps. Last time around, ran about 0.2 of a second faster than Michael Blackner, so Michael really hasn't gotten out too far like we thought. I think the gap at most, at one point, was about 1.2, maybe at most 1.3 seconds, but Richie right now only back by a second still from the last time when I talked about Michael Blackner pulling out just a little bit from Richie Coy. But I mean, these two are very good road racers. We've seen Richie Coy dominate on road courses, and Michael Blackner, one thing to note too, Jeremy, we were talking about it right over during the commercial break, side-by-side, or picture-in-picture, what you call it, that Michael Blackner is the one and only FTSR road champion. They had a road series a little while back, and Michael Blackner was the only one, and then Fury ended up going and scouting Michael Blackner, and that's how Michael Blackner got onto Fury Motorsports. So here he is right now, showing those guys at Fury exactly why they scouted him here for the road course program.
And it makes sense why he's out here leading this thing over Richie Coy, who's usually pretty dominant on the road circuits himself here. As you see, these two guys right now have a 6-second lead over the third place car. Still the number 24 of Jose Acosta. And the 87 Michael Blackner, I think, has extended his lead just a touch here. Going through the final corner for the 14th time here. Going to start lap number 15 here. And since we're not going to have a caution, this might be like an early fun time to go through the Nerd TV Top 10 recap. Since we got all the time to do so right now. Starting with your race leader, we've been talking about him. It's not much more to notate. Michael Blackner up 2 positions, started in third, now up the first, and has a 0.9 second lead now over second place Richie Coy, that's been the only lead change so far through 14 completed laps. Richie Coy started first, down 1 to second place, and then one of the big movers in the top 10, that's going to be that third place car, number 24, Jose Acosta. Started in 6th up to 3rd, so 3 spots gained for him. And then the guy behind him, the number 14, Lane Allen, he's pretty quiet overall. We don't talk about him too much, but he's really good at the road course stuff. Participated with him in the Spa 24. He knows his stuff. And, of course, he's up 3 positions as well. Started 7th into 4th. And the 5th place car, well, that's Fury Motorsports mastermind at the road circuits here. Tony Solari up 4 positions. Started 9th. Currently resides in 5th here. A little loose through turn 7 there. Holds on to it, though. Don't want to do that early on in this event. As he gets through turn 8 just fine. That's your top 5. Jason, you got 6 through 10.
6, you got Ryan Chapman right there. And the number 27, Martin Sports Ford Mustang. Ryan's been very consistent here tonight. Not really so much of a road guy. Highest has been 3rd tonight, but currently only 1 position back from where he started. He was up in the top 3, like I said a moment ago. A handful of laps ago, he's dropped a few positions, but so far, so good here for that 27 machine. 7th, you got Jeff Chandler. Obviously, Doyle Lawrence in the chat, being close with Jeff, said this was not going to be a Mr. Jeff Chandler racetrack. Well, boy, oh boy, so far, 16 laps in, Jeff Chandler up 1 spot from where he started in 8th, currently resides in 7th in the Abruzzi Raceway Chevy Camaro. 8th, you have Brandon Elder there in that 51 Sharpie car. Absolutely love that machine with all the Sharpie outlining on the race car. It gives me like Into the Spider-Verse vibes for sure, just because of the cartoony look to it with the outlines and design. I think it looks like a great car for sure. Brandon, though, he's lost a lot of positions, started up on the first 2 rows. He's back 6 positions where he started, currently in 8th. 9th, you have Stephen Hollingsworth there in the 25 machine. Kind of quiet so far. We've seen him have some big moments, some big passing opportunities, locking up the brakes here and there. Up 6 from where he started. Currently, I believe, if I'm correct, yes, I am, he is your biggest mover of the race, 17 laps into this event. He resides in 9th. And then 10th is Brody Hanna, one of the Fury Motorsport drivers there in the FTSR Mustang. So far, so clean, being calm, cool, consistent, and quiet. Up one spot from where he started, and that's your top 10 right now.
That's a pretty smooth run of the K words there, right there. Cool, calm, consistent, collective. And it is lap 17. You just said that. So Michael Blackner did get stage points there for leading the lap on 15 and 16. So congratulations, Michael Blackner, first stage win, I think, for him in the 2023 B season, as he's now going to complete lap 17 at this time. I'm going to do one of our shout outs here, of course. Our new partner, Mr. Dusty Pete's Gifts and Collectibles. Essentially, this is a hobby store with a whole lot more. They're based out of New York, and Dusty Pete's is your one-stop shop for many things nerdy. That's why they partner us, the nerds. So if collecting is the game, then Dusty Pete's is the name. From figurines to action figures to collectible cards such as Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, and sports cards, all the way to die-cast replicas, Dusty Pete's is the place. And they have comics. That's right, Dusty Pete's also sells a plethora of comics for any nerd, young and old. So if you're collecting anything nerdy, then visit the official hobby shop partner of the Nerditudes at dustypetes.com. And they have a nice little promo code, of course, if you've been watching us time in and time out. Super Nerd. That code's going to get you 10% off anything you purchase at dustypetes.com.
Yeah, so many great things. Obviously on Dusty Pete's, from comic book sleeves to tin signs from the NFL to NASCAR diecast. Obviously, us being nerds, I sure definitely go on there every so often, possibly every day, to go and look. So definitely give them, obviously look at them, because I've been having my eye on this Matt Kenseth DeWalt Jeremy 2008 124 scale diecast for $20, man. You can't beat that price. Everybody's pricing on eBay for over $60, man. Where can you get a Matt Kenseth number 17 car like that for $20 fresh in the box?
Not too many shops for sure. A couple local ones that I've seen in my area definitely are not at that price point. So definitely a good value place to go check. And I'm going to go cycling through the field here a little bit more. Michael Blackner's extended his lead a second and a half here. Jose Acosta getting a little bit of pressure behind him now from the 14 Elaine Allen. Those guys are separated by just over a half a second here. So really third, fourth, and fifth row, those guys are all almost underneath a blank here. So this might get interesting right before the pit stops happen.
Yeah, possibly. And obviously, pit stops coming up probably shortly in just a handful of laps. But one thing too, Jeremy, we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast, you already see a couple guys coming off pit road trying to do a little bit of an undercut. TJ Bartel, last week's third place finisher. Chad Lang, last week's dominator per se. Those two are off pit road this time by. They're going to go a lap down out of the pits that time. But man, this is the thing about this racetrack. Obviously, with the next-gen cars, not a lot of tire fall. If you look at Michael Blackner's best lap time, Jeremy, 1:11.741. Last time around, 1:12.177. So not even half a second of fall-off time. Just goes to show you that the tires definitely do stay on these things. You just have to be consistent, and you have to drive your hardest here, not make mistakes if you want to make it towards the front.
And that's the big complaint with this next-gen car is that tire. There's just no fall-off, right? Drivers love to not, do qualifying laps every single lap. They like to play the strategy game as I'm going to back up now, then pass these guys later in the run. You can't do that. So you have to go full throttle every single time, which it goes to the driver's skill level. If they can continue to run a high performance lap every single lap, especially at a track like Watkins Glen where it's so demanding, you just have to do that or else you're going to fall back. You cannot give it up one lap, and you're seeing that there with the lap times you mentioned out there. So definitely showing its face here, even on a road course. No tire wear, essentially. So you don't need it. You can play some strategy. Maybe do a long run, do a 2-tire stop versus a 4-tire stop because they're just not falling off. So strategy might not be in the fuel gain. It might potentially be in the tire performance there.
Yeah, for sure. And you just want to, obviously keep the tires on it, with most cars. But I mean, even with these cars, still, just not nearly as much as the Xfinity and the trucks nowadays. But usually, if you're trying to save tires, especially at a road course, you want to make sure that you're getting into the corner, braking a little bit earlier than you would for, say, a hot lap or a qualifying lap, like you said, Jeremy. Like maybe braking a little bit earlier, downshifting a little bit later, because remember, the quicker you downshift, the quicker you're going to have a chance for those RPMs to go up and spin the tires out, wheel hop, and then spin out into the corner. But you don't really see that with this car because of how much front brake there is. That's why you don't see a lot of wheel hop, a lot of guys spinning out, just a lot of wheel lock up. And then off the corners, you want it to be just like you usually would. Easy on the throttle, slam it down, and then upshift a little earlier instead of letting the RPMs get up, let the tires spin more. So you could just create less tire spin, create less wear. So there's a lot of stuff, obviously, that you could do as a driver here on these road courses to protect those tires for sure.
100%. And jumping over to the YouTube chat, so we got Brian Fine from the Tuesday RSR Next Generation Cup Series asking, how do I join Mondays once the season's over?
Oh boy.
That might be a great idea. So if you're looking to do that, guy, Dustin, you can't even resist saying that might be a fine idea.
I'm
going to head
home
over to FTSR.net. This league, by the way, for you guys who have now just joined in for the first time and don't know much about FTSR, they've been doing this thing for, 17 years now, since 2006. On the NR 2003 platform, moved over to iRacing in 2017. And, they've had basically the same admins throughout the test of time, all the years, all 17 of them. So if you want to join in, FTSR.net is the place to go. And they utilize a charter system. So if you don't have a team owner, or if you don't know of a team that wants you in, you're going to register yourself as an owner, and you're going to purchase a charter, which I think is only like $5 per car. And then what you do is you can sign yourself as a driver, or if you want to bring in other drivers, you can, purchase multiple charters, assign them onto the team, and then you can pay them out a certain percentage, 1 through 100%, actually 0 to 100 if you want to, scam your driver completely, and then get them on the track each and every single week. And that's how you're going to do that. And once again, that's FTSR.net.
Yeah, there's been absolutely so many great drivers come through here with FTSR. Just such a great racing etiquette with a lot of these guys on the racetrack. Some great action week in and week out. Every time we broadcast over here on Nerd TV, these guys put on a show just like they're about to, as Josh Johnson goes wide there through turn number 10. Man, boys, gosh, they're really trying to show something here, I think, for Brian Fine. They probably got the broadcast queued up on their cell phones, probably right next to them, more than likely. So they said, hey, let's do something crazy down to turn 10. But hey, with all jokes aside, man, these guys, they know how to race. There's a lot of tough competition. From Richie Coy to Brandon Elder to James Wallace, Jeff Chandler, who's been heating up these last few weeks. Any one of these guys, like Richie Coy has said to us multiple times, every time he gives us the, hey, what's up, nerds, in the broadcast booth here, he says it every week. Besides him, there are so many drivers every single week who can win, so that's the thing about FTSR. There is a strong competition level here when you get over here.
The weird thing about that, too, is the 57 of Joshua Johnson cut the bus stop there, had to do a complete stop for the yield penalty. He's back on the racing surface. When they went 3 wide there, the 19 Richie Coy's in P2, right? Chad Lang is in 14th, and Joshua Johnson's in 15th, both 1 lap down due to their pit stop. So it's kind of weird to see a 14th and 15th place car put the second place car 1 lap down. You don't see a 3 wide at a road course, usually never, unless there's a situation on the track. But those guys just straight up tried splitting the 19 there, and thankfully nothing really happened of it. Back to the chats there. Brian Fine saying hashtag fine beer for the boys, trucks coming. So that's not Monday, that's Wednesday. So am I expecting you 2 times a week, Brian? Is that what I'm hearing? And then Pepto Joe saying, hi guys, happy race day. Well, I'm glad you're jumping in and watching us call to action here from FTSR at Watkins Glen. Currently 25 or 24 laps in the books out of 51, so we're almost to the halfway point in tonight's event.
Yeah, and Very, very, very good race here so far. I mean, Michael Blackner has put on a clinic ever since he got past Richie Coy, but all throughout the field, it's kind of just being consistency. A lot of guys passing one another. A couple battles heating up. See Lane Allen back there in the 5th spot. He's closing in on Tony Solari, trying to capture another top 5 performance this week after finishing 2nd to Sherwood Williford, who picked up his first win since March of 2022 last year at Atlanta in the Mach-1 Performance Cup Series, or I believe it was the Truck Series. But Sherwood not here tonight. Lane Allen, though, is there as he tries to reel in that 11. And then Brandon Elder slowly trying to catch Jeff Chandler for the 7th spot, back by about 1 second. Oh, Josh Johnson into the tire barriers there for a moment. Heading out of turn number 10 back to 11. Gonna have to see if we can get a replay on that for sure. Because, man, that you don't really see that. I wonder if he just got loose while merging back on Jeremy. No, just gets really loose there out of turn 10.
Yeah, it's kind of odd for Joshua Johnson there. Had the issue missing the bus stop, and then a couple laps later finds himself into the wall there between 7 and 8. Doesn't look like there's too much damage there on their TV replay. You see another wall contact there, angle that coming from the turn 8 camera. And yeah, I don't see much damage. I think he's going to be A-okay. He remains on track right now, running a normal pace, it looks like so far. Just a little more pancaked on the left side. Brian Fine on the chats once again saying triple duty question mark. Bring it on, man. We'll like to see him Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, filling up our entire schedule for the race week. And then Doyle Lawrence back on there saying, what? For the 87, Michael Blackner saying, quote, he probably sheets in his britches with the sponsor sheet, so clever play on that as well. And then also saying, is that in reference to Coy's wide, 3 wide with the lapped cars? Yes, that was definitely in question with that, Mr. Doyle there.
Yeah, just so many funny comments here tonight on the chats, obviously. Just having a blast here, obviously calling this race. You know, and that's the thing about road courses. They become long, strung out, bigger picture towards the end of this race, these races. That's the thing. Some guys come in, some guys come out here at these races shining like a diamond, per se. And surely enough, Michael Blackner has done just that. Still a 3.3 second gap back to Richie Coy, that number 87 Sheets Ford Mustang there,
Man.
As he heads through the carousel. And Richie Coy still trying to close in on that Sheets Ford Mustang.
You know, you got me on this Wawa thing. The closest Wawa for me for a while has been like
Daytona
45
Beach.
minutes. And then they put one in Rockledge, which is a half hour south of me. And now, for the first time in my town, I think within a mile and a half, they got one being built right now behind my house. So whenever that gets up and running, I'm going to be donating a quarter of my paycheck to them, each and every single paycheck. So,
Oh, yeah, you will.
I'm going to get just, you know, I'm going to love me some Wawa here soon.
Yeah, you definitely will, obviously. There's a Wawa almost every half mile here in New Jersey. I got a
So
Wawa
good.
right down the road. Absolutely. So many different options. Michael Blackman used to definitely run a Wawa scheme here next week for sure when these guys head to Daytona, because you should definitely take sheets off that. Definitely an overrated place for sure. But some
Rip.
more guys coming down pit road here this time by. Here comes Brandon Elder in the 51 machine.
Colton Gum is exiting pit road. Brandon Elder in the 51 has entered, so some more pit stops. And you don't see pit road hardly any cars in there right now, so just a bunch of strategies being played. There's no cautions, right? So you can sit down with your team and go, hey, usually we pit when the fuel tank's empty, right? But what if we did this? What if we came in at this time and this time, separated ourselves from any field potentially, open track, give us the most advantage possible without being held up? And I like this call. The 51 Elder is going to be coming out pit road. There's only one car about 3 seconds behind him, nobody in front of him. So this is just going to allow him to concentrate on hitting his marks, and that's going to be one of the best calls, I think, for that 51 camp for sure. As we cycle through the field here, the 25, he's another one of those guys that have basically nobody around him. Here's probably the most group of cars on the track at one time. Here you got the 7 of Wayne Grossi, 23 of Brody Hanna. You got there behind him the 44 of Chris Beck, and then Joshua Johnson and the 57. So minus these group of cars, there's really just a bunch of single cars out there on the track. You see Joshua Johnson, nobody around him right now, which is good to hit your marks and just kind of run a clean race.
Yeah, for sure. That's really all you want to do. And even if you're in the back of the field here, you want to kind of just learn this road course, make yourself a better driver, maybe try to attack a different corner. If you're Chris Beck, Josh Johnson, Colton Gum back here, and whatnot. So we'll have to see how they attack their corners as this race continues to go on. And man, I tell you what, this battle right here starting to heat up a little bit. To Acosta, Solari, Allen back there. That's the battle for third place all the way back to fifth. So maybe Solari and Allen have something for Acosta here as they head into 11. Whoa, Lane Allen gets really wicked loose there off the rumble strip out of 10.
I sound like I'm going to be a sponsor for Wawa here with the chats, but I have to explain. Doa doesn't know what a Wawa is. Pepto Joe says the nearest one to him is 245 miles. That's a huge shame all alone. But Doyle Wawa is it's basically a restaurant that happens to be a convenience store with gas pumps outside. So huge amount of selection, the best subs and sandwiches on the market. So if you got
Hold
one,
on.
check them out.
Ooh. And Tony Solari, I believe, just caught the wall, possibly going through the S's there. Gonna take it back, rewind it like the VCR. Here he is. You can already see that car starting to snap loose. Unfortunately, pounds the wall right there. And that car's definitely got damage. You can see it right there on the right side door, Jeremy, I believe on the right front, possibly, on that 11 Menards Ford Mustang.
Yeah, more of the contact visually came to the rear side of the car, but the front end definitely is showing a little bit of it. And surprisingly, you don't see a scratch on the rear end. But you see it just ever so slightly pushed in, but these are the carbon composite bodies. They're not the sheet metal. So these things could take more of a lick without being hurt too bad visually. So thankfully for Tony, it looks like his car is still competing well. But you always got to worry about the rack and pinion and the individual suspensions there. It's just, if you hit it just in the right spot, these things can break easily.
For sure, and you don't want to hit the wall too hard with these things, obviously, because they break kind of like how you would break a Lego set, for say. If you just dropped it very lightly, broke off a few pieces, it's kind of like that with the NASCAR Next Gen car, very sensitive. But you're able to kind of take a beating with this car a little bit more. It's not going to be as forgiving internally rather than externally, because when you look at the cars back with the Gen 6, you would see these cars just look at Acosta get loose there through the bus stop. Now Solari's going to go in attack mode through the carousel out of that corner while they ride behind Chad Lang, who's currently a lap down, currently 13th on the board. I believe maybe is a lap down now. But with that being said, you cannot really see a lot of damage when you hit the wall here with these things, but it does a lot more damage internally to the car.
Yeah, 100% there. 31 laps down, 20 laps to go. And we kind of talked about it already, but I want to actually give a shout out to our weekly broadcast schedule. So if you want to tune in each time that we run, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's all the same exact time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Oh, we got a spin there actually here on the front. That's number 24 of Jose Acosta right off of turn number 1. Contact was made. We'll see if we can get a replay of that. I'll go back to the schedule. That's more important there on the track right now as we're looking over the rear camera here, it looks like, of the 24. Oh, and then Tony Solari just mental mistake and drives it super deep. You saw the tire smoke come off the car, and it sends the 24 around.
Hey, thankfully for Jose Acosta, there's not that many drivers that were close by behind him. But here we go, down turn 1. You see Tony Solari kind of trying to break it. Look at that. Even Chad Lang up ahead of them. He overbreaks it, but unfortunately, the 11, Tony Solari, hard into that corner. That enables Lane Allen to get a 2-for-1 special from Wawa out of turn number 1 there. And Tony Solari, just definitely a mental mistake right there, Jeremy, for sure. And I saw last time around, I noticed too, Tony Solari ran into turn 1 very deep, right all the way, practically 4 tires on that inside rumble strip. Sure enough, overdrove the corner yet again, and this time Jose Acosta ends up just, getting into him right there.
Jose's coming down pit road, the very next lap on pit road right now. It looks like he's got one other taker, Jeff Chandler in the 31, also right behind him. So no surprise we're seeing the 24 come down pit road after that spin. But I almost think, Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, but the guy in front of the 24, I could not tell exactly who that was. He also overshot the corner entry.
Lang.
So do you think Chad Lang, because he did that, made Jose maybe check up the corner exit a touch, and then the 11 kind of like I feel like he drove it in deep, right? But I don't think he was going to miss the corner exit. I think he was going to maintain. So do you think Jose maybe kind of checked up a little early?
Possibility, but just because of the way that Tony Solari was coming out of that corner, I cannot tell you. I'm not driving one of these things right now. But I'm sure they're going to talk about it afterwards. I'm sure probably over the radio they discussed it briefly, possibly. Just from my look, it looked like Tony Solari just got into the corner a little too hot, maybe rolled out of the brake a little bit earlier than he should have. Is right there. He's on the brake way too much right there, going into the pit road commitment line as everybody starts to come down pit road this time. Michael Blackner, Lane Allens, Tony Solari, of course, and Ryan Chapman as well. They're all on pit road now into their boxes.
Tony Solari's VR headset's going to start smelling like smoke the more he keeps locking up those front tires there. 3 cars on pit road at the moment. Probably one of the busier laps on this race so far. 32 laps completed. As you see, the 87, Michael Blackner, he's leaving his stall. We got 3 more cars, and 2 of them are going to exit at the same exact time. And right behind him, I think that's the 67 of James Wallace. Yes, it is. He's going to make his pit stop for this evening.
Yeah, James has been really in the middle to back half of the field here all night long. Currently got up to 10th, it looks like, but he's coming to pit road this time by. You see a few other drivers off pit road. Oh, and Josh Johnson into the wall there, heading through turn number 2. He'll slide up, nearly catches Ryan Chapman in the left rear quarter panel, man. Tonight has not been Josh Johnson's night at all.
No, not really. And there's your race leader, the number 19 of Richie Coy. He's going to make his stop here. Let's see how he gets out in comparison to the 87 of Michael Blackner. Usually Mr. Richie Coy barely makes any mistakes. Let's see what he can do to maximize his time in pit road here. 3, 2, 1 hits the box. First stall there. Does not help you when there's no caution, so it's just in and out as you will. On the track right now, Michael Blackner is on the front stretch. Going to be passing Richie Coy. 3, 2, 1. So there's your difference there. So about maybe 2 or 3 seconds, maybe up to 5 exiting pit road here. Actually, no, they're going to come out pretty quick, side by side. Drag race to turn number 2 for the race leaders.
Yeah, and Michael Blackner ultimately is going to get him. But right there, Richie Coy able to gain a ton of track position worth of time there as they get out of the S's down the long back straightaway, sweeping that right-hander heading into the inner loop. Richie Coy's got to be careful, though, heading through here with the cold tires. Doesn't want to lock it up, doesn't want to get loose. Gets through it pretty smoothly as you see him trying to catch Michael Blackner there. Brian Dublé on the outside. This could be a hindrance to the 87's momentum. And out of the carousel, Richie Coy now trapped on the bottom side, which is going to set up being the outside heading down into turn number 10.
Yeah, actually, the 19 able to clear the 37 is going to be huge there. I think the 19 wanted to take that corner wide, but did not do so because of Brian Dublé. Gave him plenty of room there, but since he's got him cleared, now it's just the 87 and the 19, and that's it. We're seeing teammate of Richie Coy, that's Brody Hanna, coming down pit road for his stop here for this evening on lap number 35.
Yeah, Brody's just trying to have himself a nice run. We saw him just the last driver on the top 10 when we went over the top 10 recap after the first stage happened to be over, even though we did stay green. Now Brody has ultimately given up that track position that he took. Now looks like he's going to fall what looks to be 11th right now. Possibly going to lose some more spots. So right now, only losing 1 spot from where we saw him earlier on. So far, though, a solid night for the 23 machine.
Yeah, solid night overall for sure. Don't expect him to be up there like fighting for the race lead, but the 23 overall has been doing great at Watkins Glen. And yes, Pepto Joe, that's about right. There was a huge gap. I don't remember the exact number there, but he did close up a lot of that gap. But looking back, actually no, never mind. I'm sorry. The 19 have actually caught the 87 quite a bit there, even after coming out of pit road. He lost a little ground, but he's made it back up on the tail half of this lap here. So coming up really close, but the 19 gets kind of loose there on turn number 8. Has to check up and going to fall probably close to a second behind Michael Blackner.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting battle for the last 15 laps here in Germany, because we've seen Richie Coy kind of be really competitive right there early on, if not faster than Michael Blackner on the first half of the run. But once you get onto the back half of the run, we've seen Michael Blackner just be absolutely lights out. I mean, for gosh sakes, we saw him get out to a 3.5, almost 4-second lead over his teammates. So maybe Michael Blackner has got what's in the tank for the second half of the run. But if Richie Coy is going to have to get by him and wants this win, he's going to have to get by him now.
Yeah, he's going to have to do it here. We know Michael Blackner is really fast as the laps continue to wind down here. So there's just, I don't know if Richie can do it. We've seen this entire race play out where the 87's just been able to pull on the entire field. So it's going to take a lot out of that 19. He's going to have to hit his marks perfectly for entire probably 2 or 3 laps consecutive to even get to the bumper of the Michael Blackner car. I just don't see it happening personally, but you never know. It is Watkins Glen. One simple mistake can cost you quite a few seconds here.
For sure. I mean, even if, Michael Blackner overshoots the corner down the front straightaway, heading into one just a little bit, Richie Coy can ultimately take a 1 second gap and then narrow it down to 0.3 of a second with him leading out of the corner. That's just a part of road course racing. And in fact, speaking of Richie Coy, last time around, 1:11.666 that last time around for Richie Coy, fastest lap of the race. So he's flirting right now within a second behind his teammate Michael Blackner as they head into the carousel this time.
Yeah, just inching in a little closer here. He's trying everything he can. Michael through the bus stop and now the carousel, just a little bit faster than Richie that time there. Jumping back to the chats, Pepto Joe saying, I want to get back to racing with these guys. They're good, such a fun league. And yeah, man, I'm actually going to have to absolutely agree with you on that one for sure. I did some racing with them in ARCA and whatnot, so I've personally had experience with them. Great group of guys here. And I want to kick it back to what we were talking about before the 80 or the 24 spun out there. Our schedule here: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Mach-1 Performance on Mondays, RSR Next Gen Cup Series from the ERL guys on Tuesdays, and then back to FTSR on Wednesdays for the Martin Sports Truck Series. And like I said, that's all the same exact starting time: 9 Eastern, 8 Central. So be a part of us, support us any way, shape, or form on Facebook, YouTube, kick.com. I think we got those 3 currently running live at the moment. So anything, actually, no, I just got an update. It's only Facebook and YouTube at this time.
And one thing I want to point out real quick is Jose Acosta right there. We were looking at him just beforehand, currently in the 5th position. You see him up the back straightaway now, heading into the inner loop. I want to know if possibly, if Jose Acosta somehow, even though he's about 7 seconds almost back to Lane Allen, I want to know if maybe he doesn't drive him, or not drive, but race him like he has with everybody else here tonight, possibly. Maybe he's going to give him a little, or not Lane Allen, excuse me, Tony Solari. It was completely went over my head. He's only back from Tony by 3.5 seconds. So maybe if Jose gets to him, he's not going to race him possibly like he has with everybody else. But we'll have to see. Jose Acosta, though, even despite that spin, Jeremy, still running 5th right now as he works on the lap car of Wayne Grassi in 1.
Yeah, it looks like he has well over 2 seconds over 6th place Ryan Chapman. So actually 3 seconds there at the line. So as long as he can maintain pace, I think he's got himself locked up a top 5. Only the second race into this 2023, or actually the entire career there, rather, for the FTSR. So great run still for the number 24, despite being tagged there in turn number 1 by that number 11. I don't think there's going to be any issue with these guys coming up to each other if Jose can get to the number 11 of Solari. If anything, Solari might even give him a little extra way, saying, hey, I'm sorry, you can take this one back. Who knows? But he has to get there first, and we have 11.5 laps to go to get there.
Yeah, Costa right there, kind of yelled out to myself right there. He just had a flashback going into turn 1 last time around because, man, Wayne Grassi just overshot turn 1 just a half a lap ago, now coming up to a lap ago. And, man, he almost took out that 24 machine. So that could have been bad for Jose Acosta for sure. But now back up at the front, Michael Blackner pulling out to a 2.5-second gap out of turn number 1. So now we're starting to see him kind of take advantage of Richie Coy. Once the tires start settling in, the tires are at optimal temp, even though we're at about 113 degrees of track temperature here today. That is not stopping Michael Blackner at all as he works his way into the first part of the inner loop.
I think he might have grazed the wall there and through the S's. Richie Coy, that is in the 19, the same spot Tony Solari did. Really close if he did. I don't think I see any damage on that car, so he might have just ever so grazed it. As you see in the Roasted Gems coffee, weather on the track right now, still a blistering 112 degrees. Usually in the iRacing platform, that temperature decreases, but nope, the clouds kind of went away. It says cloudy, but I'm seeing a lot of sunlight hit this track right now. 112 on the track, 88 in the sky still, and the winds have kind of calmed down to just 10 miles an hour, so not too much has changed since the drop of this green flag 40 laps ago.
Yeah, definitely not. The track temperature is still there. The wind is practically the same. The air temperature here, the sky conditions with it being cloudy a little bit. Obviously not that much sunlight. I know it looks like it, but that's just obviously with the sun beaming through the clouds. You know, I mean, this has just been a very hot condition here today for these guys in upstate New York at the virtual Watkins Glen International. You don't really see a lot of road courses quite like this, obviously, all the way around the track with the temperature being 111 degrees, 113 per se. But also, it is a huge racetrack being said, you know, 2.45 miles in length. So at some points, there's probably a little bit cooler temperatures, and others there's probably blistering hot temperatures here. But that's the way that road course racing works for sure.
Yeah, 100% there. And another way to see how exactly road course racing works is if you load up the track map presented by iRacing iFlag. Wasn't sure if I wanted to do this, but this is exactly what a caution-free event here at any road course would look like. Scattered across the field, and to my surprise, we're actually seeing a lot of cars there, which I don't know if calling it the backstretch, but after turn 6 carousel, I kind of bundle that in as a backstretch. And there's a lot of cars right now through 7 and 8. A huge gap there. Curly headed toward the inner loop, and then there's a couple of cars there. But so just really spaced out overall. People are taking their time. I see right now on track with 31 Jeff Chandler passing the 37 Dublé. There's a lot of lap cars right now in the way of some of these lead lap cars, so kind of presenting a little bit of a question mark for these guys, but overall clean passing, clean sailing, and they continue moving forward.
See here as they work their way into the carousel now, you see Richie Coy still back by a second and a half as they head out of that now down the short chute. Michael Blackner just trying to catch these guys. He wants to make quick work of them. You have Colby Mice, you have Ryan Hedrick, and then I believe that's Robert Malicki in there as they head into turn number 11. This could present Richie Coy with an opportunity to close in. But again, Jeremy, this is a road course. It is a lot easier to give guys room here at this track compared to, let's say, a Charlotte Motor Speedway where you have to be on the racetrack. Here, you could use the runoff. You could use the long straightaways out of corners to give guys an opportunity to pass if you are, in fact, slower than them. But with the way that these guys are racing right now, I do not know what could happen. You see Ryan Hedrick really loose, getting up to the top of the S's, and Colby Mice continue to try to put on some pressure on him as well.
I mean, these guys are the 47 of Hedrick. He's 1 lap down. Colby Nice is 3 laps down. This is not for position, but this is actually a pretty active spot on the track right now. The number 47 is just loose every single corner. It looks like he is tail happy on exit and on center of the corner even. He's kind of being very hesitant on laying down the throttle to the ground there, as we're actually seeing a pretty straight drive off the corner exit for the 47 that time from the number 9's roof camera. But watch this 47. He's loose a little bit there, getting on the brake, slides it deep into 7. So deep he goes beyond the track limits there, gets the turn number 8, and more loose. The number 9, Colby Mice, almost makes contact. This 47 is on ice right now.
Yeah, well, speaking of ice, you talk about that in perfect opportunity. You saw Robert Malickian up there. He was real loose. Here comes Michael Blackner making quick work.
Race
He goes
leader.
way wide out of the corner. And in fact, that actually made Richie Coy close in half a second now as they work their way up the S's. So maybe Richie Coy going to try to make quick work of Colby Mice as they work down the back straightaway here. But the thing to notice too about that 47 being so loose, I noticed not this last time around, but the time before that, his fast lap time 1:13.301, and then his time before that, which was his fast lap, and then now it was about a 1:15, so 2 seconds of fall off for Ryan Hedrick just because his tires are shot, because obviously he's just not a oh my goodness, nearly chopped down right in front of Colby Mice out of the carousel, right in the path of Richie Coy. Gonna cost him some valuable time on the racetrack. Thankfully, no contact made though out of the carousel.
And thankfully, both of them gave room to the 19. And the number 9, the 47, finally made contact. The number 9 spins out. That's Colby Mice. He gathers it back up, looking like a Kyle Larson there, and he goes right to pit road to change up those 4 virtual Goodyears. We're going to kick it over to the Nerd TV replay and see that contact once more. This is through 7, coming to 8. And Ryan Hedrick, the number 9 just Colby just drives into the back of him and then spins himself out. Very Kyle Larson looking like they're off 8.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's just unfortunate. Yesterday, you saw Austin Dillon, huge overshoot into the corner, tried to make a pass on Larson, got into the back bumper, and Larson went wide through the runoff area, and then just could not get it woed up enough. And unfortunately, the 9, he tried to drive it in really deep. Not enough momentum right there, or in fact, too much momentum. It made some contact there with Ryan Hedrick. Thankfully, those two were able to get back going. And Ryan Hedrick now, way back there, Colby Mice, he's going to be still stuck on pit road 4 laps down, coming to 5 laps down this time.
Yeah, race is eventually done. There's a couple cars that are 7 and 9 laps down, so if he get back on track, then he can salvage a couple spots here. But that 19, Richie Coy, has gained a couple tenths after those little chaotic couple laps there between him and the 87. But that lap when they both got back to fresh track, the 87 is extended back to a 1.2 second lead. As Ryan Hedrick gets loose really bad right behind him, almost, I think, actually hit the inside wall of Alpha turn number 1. And you see some damage, at least the right front looks a little pushed in from my view. 47 is hurt though.
Yeah, for sure, but thankfully he's going to keep on going. That 47 DraftKings Chevy Camaros. We take a look here at the drone cam, trying to see if there's any damage. Doesn't look like there's any damage there on the right front as he hops over the curbs. We travel back to the rear of the car, now back on the left side. Doesn't look like there's any damage, so it was probably pretty close there for the 47 of Hedrick. And here's the thing I want to bring up as we're just coming to 4 laps to go this time by. Yes, Michael Blackner is out front from Richie Coy by nearly 2 seconds, currently 1 3/4 as they work into turn 11 here, coming to hit 4 laps to go. Here's something I will say. Richie Coy, we've seen him versus our driver from Nerd Motorsports, Brandon Gagnon, in the Martin Sports Truck Series on Wednesday nights back at New Hampshire. Brandon made his first start, was ahead of Richie Coy late in the going. Richie tried to run him down, ultimately got past him right there late in the going. And we've never seen Richie Coy probably drive that hard. And now you have him just almost 2 seconds back from his teammate. So Richie Coy very well could try to put some pressure on Michael Blackner. And on Michael Blackner's side of the coin, he's never really out front most of the time with these races, Jeremy. He's never really had a lot of pressure being the leader here. We've seen him have some good runs. He's usually a guy who's about mid-pack on a regular Monday night race on an oval. But now being presented the leader, will he fall into a slump where he's not very consistent here these last 3 laps? But the only thing that's going to save him is that he's a road racer. So this could go one of 2 ways here coming to the finish.
I see nothing going to go wrong with this 87. Of course, mechanical failures, that's one thing. But I think his driving right now, he knows he's a faster car, right? He has put on almost the entire second this past 5 laps over Richie Coy. So he's got the speed. He's got to make sure everything else is buttoned up, and he's going to be good to go to be another winner in the Cup Series. Kind of look back at the stats, and we got 6 different winners. So he'll be the 7th winner if he can get the checker flag here in 2.5 laps.
Looking back at the stats right now, I mean, he's won a fairly amount of good ARCA races here this year. But looking back, his last usual Monday and Wednesday night broadcast that we do here for FTSR. His last win in those 2 series came back in the Martin Sports Truck Series back on February 22nd of this year at Auto Club, which he not only won the truck race, he also went on to win the ARCA Series race. So it's not like Michael Blackner doesn't know how to drive on ovals. It's just lately he hasn't had the best of luck recently in the Mach-1 Performance Cup Series. But today would be a huge statement for him, Fury Motorsports, and their road course program for sure, as he takes 2 laps to go this time by in that number 87 machine.
Yeah, right now, Fury Motorsports 1, 2, 3. So, last time we did this, we brought all 3 into the same chat for the post-race interview, but I think we're going to keep them separated this time. And then you can mention there, Jason, about you talking about Michael Blackner's lack of strong luck anyways on the oval side. These guys, they work hard on their setups, right? But at the same token, they all have very different driving styles. It's very common to hear Brody Hanna say, hey, I went a different way than Richie Coy did. I did this and he did that. Because they drive the car so differently. And so we know the 87 has a really fast setup underneath them on the oval side, as we see Richie Coy and Brody Hanna just consistently be in the top 5. But it's just the driving style, right? So he has to just figure out how they're driving the car, match that, and then maybe he'll be up there to compete a little bit more with these guys on the oval side for sure. Richie Coy speaking to him, as we're coming up to the white flag here in the next corner, still holds a 1.9 second disadvantage over the 87 Michael Blackner. Turn number 8 is complete. This is going to be the white flag presented by absolutely nobody. 1 to go. Watkins Glen 200K.
And Michael Blackner has been just absolutely lights out here tonight. He's got 1 more lap to do it, leading by a 1.5 seconds as he works out of 1 up to 2. Coming through the S's, as Mike Bagley would say this past weekend at Watkins Glen. And sure enough, he's going to get through them just fine and dandy. And up, down the back straightaway gap, 1.3 seconds. If there's anything Richie Coy is going to do right here, he's going to have to make up time going through the bus stop, possibly. I just don't see it happen. He sends it in deep, though, going into the bus stop. Closed it into almost a second here as they work into the carousel for the final time. Michael Blackner looking to be another different winner this season.
Wrong run here on the final lap. It's going to be a little too late for that 19. You got to be closer to put any kind of pressure on Blackner's. He's got 2 corners left. And then got Pepto Joe saying, come on, TJ, which he's doing a pretty good job there in 13th overall. And Michael Blackner's like Tyler Reddick. He can win anywhere, but he's real good on the road courses. Well, he's showing it here tonight as Michael Blackner off the final corner of the final lap. 7th different winner of the 2023 B season. Congratulations, Michael Blackner, bringing home tonight's trophy.
And man, what a drive by the 87 machine. What a drive by Fury Motorsports in general. You have Blackner, Coy, Solari, 1, 2, 3 up on the podium. You might as well just call it the Fury Motorsports podium here. And then obviously Brody Hanna finishing back in 10th. So all of the Fury Motorsport guys top 10 here tonight as they work down the back straightaway. Richie Coy going to come up and give his celebratory congratulations. Rev more than likely down the back straight. But man, what a statement by Fury. What a statement by Michael Blackner. And an interesting thing pointed out there in the comment section, obviously, about the comparison to Tyler Reddick is that Michael Blackner really is. He can win anywhere. We've seen it. You just go and look at the FTSR.net stat sheet for Michael Blackner. Can win on the ovals, can be there when he needs to, just has bad luck, kind of like Tyler Reddick. But when we go to a road course, you know this 87 is going to be fast, and sure enough, he was here tonight.
He is just getting chauffeured on this entire post lap here by Richie Coy here.
Just bodyguard.
Just hanging out, just, making sure he's all good to go. Not like he knows how to drive this track at full speed or anything, but yeah, this is huge there for Fury Motorsports. I think this is only the 3rd time since we have broadcasted this league for almost 2 years that we've seen them finish 1, 2, and 3. And as he's now going to get his burnouts going, it is our time to kick it over to the unofficial results here for tonight's race. Michael Blackner, P1 there. Richie Coy is going to be finishing in 2nd. Tony Solari in 3rd. Lane Allen in 4th. Jose Acosta in 5th. Stephen Hollingsworth 6th. Ryan Chapman 7th. 8th place for Doyle Lawrence, Jeff Chandler, so he will be a happy camper there. Brandon Elder, 9th. In tonight's 10th place car, the last Fury Motorsports driver, Brody Hanna.
11th, you got Chad Lang, James Wallace, 12th, TJ Bartel, 13th, Robert Malikian, 14th, Wayne Grossi, 15th, Brian Dublé, 16th there in the 37, 17th, Ryan Hendrick, the guy who was loose all day long. Colby Mice, unfortunately, 18th tonight. Chris Beck, 19th. Josh Johnson, 20th. 21st, Colton Gum. 22nd goes to James Torrey. And the two drivers rounding out the field who did not turn one lap here tonight, Kyle Milliken, Alan Duranko, round out your 24-car lineup.
And we're going to kick it to our only full screen commercial break. Gather up Fury Motorsports 1, 2, 3. And we'll be back with you guys shortly for the post-race interviews presented by Motorsports. And welcome to the Martin Sports Post-Race Shows. We're going to talk to Fury Motorsports 1, 2, 3 this evening. First is going to be that number 11 there of Tony Solari, which I didn't know if we were going to move into the waiting channel or not because all teammates a part of this one. And Mr. Tony Solari, congratulations on P3.
Hey, thanks, guys. What's going on? I hope it was kind of an entertaining race. I mean, I don't know. I'll have to watch it myself.
So we talked about it in the pre-race, and Watkins Glen, at least to me personally, has always been the most active one when it comes to broadcasting because it's kind of got the speedway-esque style with the longer straightaways, not just a bunch of turns. So I feel like it's that way. It was entertaining on our part. I didn't feel like there was any like super dull moment. How'd you feel behind that number 11?
Well, the cars are awful. I mean, I'm going to sound like Brody, but they just these things don't grip. I mean, the Stadium Pro Truck lights friggin' got more grip out here than these things do, and those you can drift around the track easily. So I don't know. I think iRacing kind of missed the ball on this, but it was sketchy in some areas. Good in some areas. I know everybody's been fighting about the same thing. We've been practicing the team, and Richie comes back from vacation, and he just goes back to normal stuff too. And it's just it's a good 1, 2, 3 for the team. Michael got his win. He's in the playoffs now, so a good effort for the team. It was a fun track. I mean, I haven't had much luck here, and finally, at least I got a top 3. And I'm sorry for tapping there, Jose. I haven't even watched the replay yet, so I don't even know what happened there. But him and I, I wanted to get by him, but not like that.
Hey man, well, unfortunately, it happens there with road racing. We saw a lot of guys, unfortunately, overshoot corners tonight. But when you look at road course racing, you have super speedway racing. Next week, you guys head to Daytona. You being a road course guy, I know a lot of road course guys don't usually like the super speedway type racetracks. How do you feel going into Daytona next week?
I have decent luck at Daytona, so yeah, I think it's probably my most win track here at FTSR. So we'll see what happens. The team usually brings a good set, and we know how to work together. And now we got Michael in the mix, so we got a 4-guy team, and yeah, I think we'll be okay. It's just one of those things. These cars actually work awesome on super speedways, and that's probably the only thing they're good at. And we got a decent piece for that. So hopefully, we might get another 1, 2, 3 out of it. At least that's what we're going to shoot for.
Yeah, there you go, right? Set the standard high. You did it tonight. Why can't you do it next week, right? And 2 parts just to follow up that first comment there with Jose Acosta. I mean, it looked like a combination of you just driving a little deep. I saw some tire smoke come up, but at the same token, maybe the 24 was slowing up for, I don't know who it was in front of him that also overshot the corner. So there's a couple things going on at once. That was the number 4, Chad Lang. Thank you, Dustin. So that could have been that. And then, yeah. That's about it. I lost my train of thought on the second part there. So either way,
I get to say hi to Mom and Dad and
Yeah.
thank the team and thank everybody and thank you guys.
Instead of
and,
Richie doing it,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
get
And
to it first. It's true.
he's still gonna
That's
do
right.
it though.
he will, of course. They already got him in the will. He gets a small share, but
Beautiful.
yeah, probably bigger than mine. But
Oh, man.
yeah, it's all good. And yeah, thanks to you guys. Thanks for what do we have? 24 guys tonight on a road course. It was pretty good. So thanks to the league, Brody, and the other admins. We have a lot of fun out here. And again, sorry to Jose if you're out there listening. I already sent him a message, so we'll see. I
Yeah,
feel bad
we're on
about
that.
stuff like that. That's just how I am.
Yeah, you really make that kind of mistake. So we know it was no ill intent for sure. But hopefully he does listen to it and accepts it and whatnot. But congratulations once again on P3, man. Good luck at Daytona next week.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Yes, sir. That's number 11 of Tony Solari. Now it's time to bring in his other teammate there, the number 19 of Richie Coy, who does not get to thank Tony's parents first. Richie, welcome back from vacation.
What's up, Larry? Not a bad race after vacation, right?
No, just he said just come back and do what you do normally, which is finish in the top 3 essentially. So congratulations, man. That was a great solid run there. It looks like you just could not get to the 87 Michael Blackner no matter what you did for more than 1 lap at a time. But just kind of walk us through the race and how'd your car feel out there tonight?
Honestly, I tonight was an important race for me. I needed to beat Jeff to solidify the clinch on the championship. I didn't want to go into Daytona with any type of championship over my head. So my mindset was I'm going to do my pace, and if Michael catches me and passes me, fine, we'll continue my pace. And then that's what I did for the race. And it was fortunately the pace was good enough for second. I was trying to push Michael towards the end there, but yeah, Michael's the king of the road courses. He's got road course championships. He's not had the opportunity to show it, but Michael's really great on these road courses, and I appreciate him adding to the team. We got Tony, who's good on these road courses, and Michael just adds just a little bit more, so to make it even, a better arsenal, I guess.
Hey, Richie, even though you're back from vacation, P2, I'm sure you wanted that win. Obviously, you beat Jeff Chandler tonight, so that's got to feel good tonight for sure. And we just talked to Tony, and, I asked him how he felt going into Daytona next week, and you guys being finished 1, 2, 3 for Fury, not 1, 2, 3, 4, because Brody finished 10th. But with that being said, how do you guys plan to work together next week when you guys go to Daytona?
Oh well, I can't give that kind of information out. That's top secret Fury information, man. We always end up trying to work together. We try to draft together. Actually, we really plate race usually really well together, as long as we can stay together. And like I said, without having the championship to worry about, I got nothing to race for next week except for a win. So hopefully, I can either win or push one of my teammates to a win there at Daytona. It's always a crapshoot at Daytona.
Yeah, you can always plan, right? But at the end of the day, one wreck and your guys are toast. So I think you actually had this championship for 2023 be locked up coming in. You're 77 points ahead. You know, if you finished last and Jeff would have finished first both races, that's only like a 50-point swing. So I think you had it locked up anyways, but now it's just extra solidified. And but you know, having that mindset really just solidifies the overall championship as you have 11 races left to do so. So hopefully everything works out in your favor and you get that title once more. But floor is yours, man. Final thoughts before we let you go this evening.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank Martin Sports, and Scott Martin for all they do for all of FTSR and myself. Shout out to Tony's parents, even though I didn't get to do it first tonight. Shout out for Tony for his top three, and shout out to Michael for a great race. That puts him in the playoffs, so now we have all four Fury guys in the playoffs. So that should be fun. And of course, shout out to FTSR. I didn't really get to see a whole lot of guys tonight. I don't know what the race was like, but there was no cautions, so that was great. And shout out for them for showing up tonight. We had 24 cars, and shout out to the nerds as always.
Appreciate you, man. Go ahead and celebrate the rest of this evening with your teammates as a 1-2-3 finish for the team. Congratulations. We'll see you actually on Wednesday here in the Truck Series.
Yes, sir.
And that was number 19 there, Richie Coy. Now it's time to bring in first-time winner in the Full Throttle Sim Racing Mach-1 Performance Cup Series, Michael Blackner. Welcome to Victory Lane.
Oh, thank you very much. I didn't think I'd get here.
Well, holy sheets, pun intended there. The car was blistering fast there. I know you and your teammates there, Richie Coy, Tony Sawyer, you're all working together on that same setup. But just no matter what Richie could do, he can only get to you maybe one lap, and then you would extend it out the next 3 or 4. So I know you're the only road champion here at FTSR. What did you do differently compared to your team that kind of helped your car out there for the long run?
Well, I guess more than anything, me and Richie ran similar setups to start with, and then we both went a little bit different directions. I loosened mine up a little bit more because I didn't like how the front end felt a little stiff and tight, especially in the S's. I was just more or less worried about the oversteer on throttle and whatnot, but yeah, we kind of went a little bit different direction, but I think he still had a little bit more speed. There were times I started pulling on him a little bit, and other times he started getting me right back.
Michael, congratulations for your first win of the season. Obviously, locking you into the playoffs, which brings me back. Your last win in the Cup Series, from what I'm seeing, was at the Charlotte Roval back in 2019. No surprise, back in late September, being the road course guy you are, winning there. And obviously not playoff contention that year, I believe. But now that you're locked in earlier on, you have a shot for the playoffs. We just talked about it during the broadcast where somebody mentioned you're like the Tyler Reddick in a sense. You can win anywhere, but just because of your luck, not able to get stuff done. But with that being said, you are a very good road course driver. How do you work on your racecraft and try to improve as a driver on these ovals here coming up into the playoffs?
Well, it's more or less going to take a lot of luck for me, at least. um, Figuring out what the car likes, what it doesn't like. I mean, it's completely different compared to the Xfinity car and the trucks and even the late model stock we run on Thursdays. So it's going to be all about trying to find what it likes, what it doesn't like, and when I need what out of it.
Well, I think it's going to be a decent amount of luck, but it's also that skill set that you have there. You only had 2 top 10s. You got your first win now of the season. That's going to be a huge bump of momentum. And plus, you got a great group of guys that you work with this season to help you kind of tone in on your skill set for the oval side. And I'm sure you'll get there competing with them. No question about it. But congratulations once again, man. The floor is yours for the first time in our broadcast booth this season. Who would like to give a shout out to?
I just like to thank my girlfriend Anna for her support. The Fury guys, especially, them bringing me on and putting some faith and some good luck into this car, especially over the last few races. I haven't really had it. I couldn't do it without them guys. Um, Ford, Sheets. It seems like every time I hop in the Sheets car, my luck's just a hair better than the Red Bull stuff. Uh, want to thank you guys for broadcasting and putting this on. I want to thank everyone at FTSR for having this period, because this is one thing I look forward to every week, no matter the track or the car. It's just something I enjoy, and I continue to enjoy all the ups and downs with it.
I love to hear that, man. And yeah, keep running the Sheets car if it's doing on average better for you. Why not, right? So, congrats once again, man, and go get them next week there at Daytona.
I might not be here at Daytona next week, but I'll definitely start prepping for the race after that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You are very welcome. And that was number 22, Michael Blackner, saying you might not be here next week, but hey, Jason, he's locked in, so he doesn't have to worry.
He's locked in. But that being said, we talk about how he has to improve as a driver when it comes to the ovals. So we'll have to see how he does. I mean, just think about it, guys. Next week, we're already at the tail end of this season. Every single NASCAR season, I go, man, we have a whole lot of racing. And then right when I say that, it's like it's already coming to an end. Come next week, boys, we only got 10 races left. We have the playoffs starting after Daytona. We go to Darlington, Kansas, Bristol, Texas, Talladega, the Roval, Vegas, Homestead, Martinsville, Phoenix, just as the Cup Series does. So with that being said, a lot of these guys now have to look for Daytona as a last chance opportunity for some guys who are outside the playoffs possibly. We'll have to see going into it, but next week for sure, just like Richie Coy said, it's going to be a crapshoot.
I love that Daytona is the final race to get in because things get super crazy at a super speedway when it comes to that. And speaking of crazy, Dustin, this is one of this is your favorite road course. Camel work kind of easy. Now you're going to be putting a super speedway. We're going to be tossing a bunch of angles at you. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm always ready, baby. Throw it at me. Anything you got. Let's go. No, this is one of my favorite road courses. Like I said in pre-race, I'm not a big road course guy when it comes to stock cars, but this is one of my favorite road courses, and these guys didn't disappoint. Super happy for the 87 team there. One could say holy sheets. We're going to change our name to Punitudes by the time this is done.
Probably.
Love it. I love it. Let's go.
But I mean, it's super happy for that team because I mean, he is. I mean, he's. I can feel for him. He's just been on the wrong side of the luck train there. And I can understand that quite a bit. So it's good to see them get there. A Fury podium, sweep. We haven't seen that in a hot minute. That was good. I want to say, I mean, big shout out to Jose Acosta too. I mean, after that contact there, Solari not wanting to make contact there. It's not how he drives or anything else. You heard that in his post-race interview. It's a factor of road racing, different break points and everything else. And there could have been a factor with, Lang. The 24 could have been checking up. We don't know. But, I mean, excellent bounce back to still finish top 5 and only his second FTSR start. I'd have to say, look out for this guy. I mean, he's going to be good. I mean, it was a good run all the way around. Doyle was talking about Chandler, saying he's not big on this track here, but still pulls in a top 10 with 8. So, I mean, overall, it was a clean one. There wasn't a whole lot of contact, wrecks, spins, or anything else that's you would typically see at a road race. I mean, these boys kept it clean and they kept it straight.
Yeah, no kidding there. And 3 different tracks for the first 3 races for Jose. So we get to see exactly what he's worth in these 3 races. So we're going to keep an eye on that for sure. But we're going to bring this thing to a close. We're going to thank our sponsors one last time before we say goodbye. Full Throttle Sim Racing. Thank you for letting us do this for such a long time, almost 2 years now. I think right at 2 years, really. We're getting so close. I don't know the exact time. But either way, if you want to be part of this racing, you heard me say it once before, and continuing on there. FTSR.net is the place to go to get registered for the one-of-a-kind charter system. Get your ownership ready, get your drivers ready. It's awesome, cool place to race here. Mach-1 Performance, the presenting sponsor for every single Monday. Race car fabrication shop that's produced champions and winners in all sorts of divisions. Find them at Facebook at facebook.com/Mach-1 Performance. Sim Racing Points, your league points management system that allows you to completely track your league stats and more with one simple upload of the export. Visit them at simracingpoints.com, or you can go to FTSR.net. They utilize their software to the fullest extent. You can see everything they have to offer your league Martin Sports, top quality apparel to make you look stylish and feel comfortable. See everything they have to offer at martinsports.gg. iRacing iFlag, get all of your notifications in a nice little 3D printed unit that kind of completes your sim rig with a really nice bright display. So if you're looking to do so, visit iracingiflag.com. Bud Kicker, the ultimate feel from the race car with their haptic response system directly into your sim seat, and find them at thebudkicker.com. Team Watson Racing setups, quality professionally built setups a lot of the FTSR guys use and win with. So check them out at teamwatsonracing.com. Dusty Pete's Gifts and Collectibles, hobby shop with a whole lot more. So if collecting is the game, Dusty Pete's is the name, and find them at dustypete's.com. And lastly, Roasted Gems Coffee. For the first time, we've not shouted them out all night long. Here they are. Premium coffee beans roasted just for you. Start your day the right way with coffee from Roasted Gems Coffee from roastedgems.com. All right, guys, we're going to see you tomorrow night, RSR Next Gen Cup Series. And then, of course, on Wednesday as well as the Full Throttle guys take it back to the Truck Series presented by Martin Sports. Same time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Till then, stay safe. Get your nerd on.